everybody, and welcome to another teacher talk session tonight. And tonight we are going to have another very special teacher trainer, an educator, an instructor, and from Turkey. Tonight we have, as I said, a very special guest, and he is Burak Aydin, and he's an instructor and SIT TESOL certified teacher trainer. I think he is here. When he comes, we are going to start our live session with him, and I'm sure that it's going to be a very fruitful session for all of us, just like other sessions. And I don't want to make you wait here, and so let me invite him to join us. Then we can start our live sessions with him. Yes, there he is. Hello, Burak Hocam.
Hi there. Am I audible? Do you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, pretty clearly.
Okay, great. It's wonderful to see you here.
Thank you.
Welcome to our teacher talk sessions. And it's great to see you here as our guest tonight. And also thank you very much for accepting my invitation to teacher talk sessions, Burak Hocam.
Thanks for having me. Really, it's my pleasure.
Wonderful. And I don't want to waste time. I know that we are all busy, and it's better to start our sessions and then and yes, and I know of you, Burak Hocam, and maybe some of our listeners would like to know about you more. Is it possible to tell us about yourself, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as you told beforehand, I'm an instructor of English, working at the tertiary level for about 9 years now, and I work pretty much in the prep school of the university level. I have no experience in primary or secondary school. I think you know better than me, Volkan Hocam. Yeah, I also work as a teacher trainer. I got my license 2 years ago from SIT TESOL certificate course. It is an SIT course, which is based in the USA. And I had the great pleasure of delivering 2 courses to be coached because it was a part of my training. And after that, this pandemic broke out and everything is topsy-turvy and we cannot give any courses anymore. It's really hard to turn everything into online. So yeah, this is all about my professional life. I'm a father of a son. He's 11 months old. I'm married to a language instructor. She also works at the tertiary level. So a lot of ELT in our house.
Great.
Yeah,
Just like me.
Yeah, just like you. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And I also married to the English teacher, and she's an instructor too also. And I have also 3 years old son.
Great.
Okay, great.
And
my next question is about your experiences. Can you tell us about it in teaching?
Right. Just I started teaching as a language instructor, as I told, as a tertiary level language instructor. So I have pretty much all my experience in university level. No primary, no secondary level experience at all, but also, the teacher training experience. First of all, I started working at Ege University for 2 years. I was a part-time teacher there.
Yes.
Right after I graduated. And after that, I got my full-time tenure at Yaşar University, and I worked for 6 years until December 2020. Which is really recent actually. And then now I work at İzmir Katip Çelebi University for 5 months now. It's really interesting. I used to teach at Yaşar University at this very table, and now I'm teaching at Katip Çelebi University at this very table. So nothing much changed, but I have, so I have my new colleagues and everything, but I will get the feel of the new experience next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much everything about my teaching experience.
Teaching experience is great. Thank you, Burak Hocam. And my next question is about your own education, Burak Hocam. And here is it. What was your favorite moment or experience in your own education?
Yeah, if I'm to talk about my pre-service training, which is, I'm a literature graduate, by the way. I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from English language and literature from Ege University.
Yeah,
So I had no clue about how to teach when I was at university. Not a single clue. When people asked me what to become in the future, I never mentioned teaching at all. Never, not a
I
single
see.
time. So it was really interesting. We had a teacher, yeah, we had a teacher in literary concepts. Her name is Mati Turian. And I remember really clearly she entered the classroom. And the first question, the very first lesson, she asked us, who wants to be the teacher, a teacher in the future? You know what I mean? Like 70 people, just a few hands up. Of course, mine was down. I didn't say, no, no, no, no, no. I will not be a teacher. And you know what she said? She said, 80% of you will be teachers. Yeah. But of
Yeah,
course, yeah, it was really
she was
interesting.
right,
It
huh?
wasn't, she was right. She now really actually 80% of us are English teachers. And yeah, I always remember that point. So it was a really magical moment. I always remember. So the biggest part of the best part of my education was I got a lot of chances to analyze literary texts, and I learned great English at university, which I think most of the literature graduates can
Mm-hmm.
relate to. It's a it's a treasure for us. You learn a lot of analysis, and you get the idea that when you have the
Mm-hmm.
support for something, then it's right. You can call a book novel or no novel. You can say it's not a novel as much as you can support it. I said, "Oh my God, I need a lot of English there," and I, kept reading and reading. It was incredible. And after that, I got my teaching certificate, and I became an English teacher. And the magical moment, maybe a good part of my education in service education. Let's say, we
Yeah.
always get improvement
Mm-hmm.
in our profession as well.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was focusing on the learner. It was the biggest moment. I said, at first year, in your first years, you say as a teacher, you always listen to yourself. You always
Yeah,
take care of, yeah,
exactly.
right. So what to talk about next? What's your next topic and how much time is left? Or, you don't really care about individuals in the classroom. And the
Yeah.
big moment was I got the TESOL certificate myself at the
Mm-hmm.
university, Yashar University. It was the part of an in-service training for us. And it was the moment I said, wow, we actually focus on learners, not the teachers. So it was the
Yeah.
best experience for my in-service. And yeah, my education went from really a lot of verbal things, a lot of English,
Yes.
and to a lot of people, to focusing on
I
people. So,
the great moments, Burak Hocam. Thank you.
yeah.
And you have already mentioned about your current job, but what kind of things you are doing there? Maybe you can just tell us about little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to do my best to get awareness about the school in the first place because I'm new there. Actually, now I'm pretty much a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a system in the school that everybody works for an office. So as a as a coordinator or as a helper. So
I
I'm
see.
now a PDU member, professional development office member.
Mm-hmm.
Just last month, I was transferred there. I mean, it was announced. And I got experience about observation, working with teachers, because at Yashar University, I had the opportunity to work at CPD unit, was CPD there. So again,
Mm-hmm.
it was professional development unit.
Yeah.
For 3 years, it was a big experience for me because it was hand in hand with the course delivery. And now I'm trying to use that experience in my new school, but I don't know about my colleagues yet because trust is really important. We have to know each other for them to welcome me in the
Exactly.
first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not much, but I delivered one session. I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to meet with people and also talk about some stuff that I've been reading about and preparing some
Mm-hmm.
presentations about, and it was about engaging learners online, which is tough.
I see.
So I just said I have some ideas. Let me share with
Mm-hmm.
you, and it was a beautiful moment. And I think next year everything will be more set. This year I don't expect much. I just get to know people. That's the phase I'm going through now.
I see. Great. Thank you. By the way, I'm reading some really nice comments about you, Burak Hocam. They all miss you. They said, Burak Hocam, you are great. We miss you. They're really nice comments down. Sometimes I'm checking them. It's really nice
Yeah,
comments
I
for you.
appreciate it. Thank you. I want to thank you. I can't read everything. It's so hard, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's fast.
Okay.
I want to
And
thank everyone.
all right. Burak Hocam, as far as I know, you are interested in reflecting teaching. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And there are several ways of reflecting on your teaching. Like, can you briefly explain how we can do reflective practice, and which is your favorite way of reflecting on your teaching?
So it's a great question because it's a broad question as much as it's a specific question.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one has to know what reflective thinking is.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, John Dewey wrote it back in 1933. It was, yeah, I mean, a century ago. But
Yeah.
nobody paid attention to that. But now, today, after 80s, a lot of attention, a lot of things are going on. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe first thing should be what reflective thinking is,
Mm-hmm.
knowing about that. So it's a kind of special type of thinking and speaking in which you have a data in and data out, which means you bring some data from your classroom, you think about it consciously, and you produce data for your next teaching.
Yeah.
And it's a rigorous process. It doesn't happen overnight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time to internalize that process. So reflective practice actually, first of all, I think what I would do, I would get a great mentor about that. This would be
I
the first
see.
step.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that thinking style, for example, reflective teaching, reflection is not brainstorming, because if you just brainstorm, there's no data in. You just think about
Mm-hmm.
everything. In some of my sessions, I ask teachers to close their eyes to practice that. Close your eyes and think about nothing for 1 minute, I tell them. And it's impossible. You
Yeah.
think about your shopping, your next day, your son, your daughter, everything, comes and
Definitely.
goes. Yeah. And I asked them, do you think it's reflection? They said, some of them say yes, some of them say no. It's a part of reflection because you have to think. But it's not a sequence of events. Everything comes and goes. There is no consciousness there. And also, it's not a belief statement. If you
Mm-hmm.
say, I believe teaching English is really hard at university, it's impossible in 1 year. If you say that, it's not reflection either.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, reflective teaching happens when you keep a close eye on what is going on in your classroom.
I
Yeah.
see.
And the first thing, the reflection starts with aha. You should say aha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Aha, something is going well or something is going bad. So this is the first consciousness. This is called reflection in action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think one of the best ways is taking notes, which I like. I take notes quickly. If something goes wrong, I say, this goes wrong because I think, no, this happened and this happened. And right after the lesson, I think about it, which is called reflection on action. You think
Mm-hmm.
retrospectively, you go back. And after that, you think about your next action. I said, okay, this didn't go really well because of this, and next time I'm going to do this. So actually,
I
it
see.
starts with past tense. It
Yeah.
goes with a little bit of model thinking, like it might be,
Yeah.
it could be, and then it goes to future tense. I will do
Future.
this. Yeah, it's a kind of cycle that goes on and on. I think this state of mind develops over time, as I told, and yeah, but it's really important skill and it's free.
Yeah, definitely
You can
free.
use all the time. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely we can use it. Thank you, Burak Hocam. It's really useful information about reflecting teaching. And my next question is this, and like, seeing your teaching from another teacher's eyes and collecting feedback from the learners are two valuable ways of reflective practice. And however, teachers sometimes, hesitate to hear about their weaknesses. How would you encourage them?
It's not easy. because teachers have beliefs, teachers have their mental lives and their
Mm-hmm.
personal lives, and I believe teachers' personal and professional lives are really intertwined. They are in each other.
Yeah.
um, right, yeah, if you have a terrible experience during the day, it's really hard for you to teach positively. And yeah, it's really hard to break that ice actually. But I think the starting point, first of all, it's trust, as I always tell. I think
Mm-hmm.
teachers should trust you. If they don't trust you, it's really hard for them to open their classroom for you. I think the friendly attitude is really important. First of all, we should be friends.
Yeah.
And secondly, we should have a professional relationship as well. And it's really hard to keep that line. You can switch really easily. In our former university, we were really successful at that. We were drinking tea with my best colleagues, and all of a sudden we become professionals. And then all of a sudden we become friends again. It's not
Yes.
really easy. But I think the school culture is also really important. But if
Mm-hmm.
I want to start personally, if I want to mentor someone one on one, and I see that person is not really willing to do so, the first thing
Mm-hmm.
would be opening my classroom. I would say, why don't you watch my classroom and
Yes.
be really honest about my mistakes, my ups and downs, and everything. Maybe that could be a start. Because, again, referring to John Dewey says you have to be open-minded to reflect. Yeah. So
I
if
see.
you're not, yeah, if you're not ready to open everything for discussion, not criticism, but discussion, then it's really hard for you to talk about your teaching reflectively. So maybe open-mindedness would help there. Yeah. So winding up, we can be, first of all, we should be friends on some
Mm-hmm.
levels, because it's really tough for me, in my new university now. It's a big challenge now. I don't know people. And secondly, that person should be open-minded, and then I can open my classroom. It can be a good start.
I see. Thank you very much. It's friendship is important and trust is also important in this
Right.
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Burak Hocam. Burak Hocam, uh, do you suggest, my next question is about action research. Do you suggest action research to the EFL teachers in terms of reflective practice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If not formally,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a state of mind, because action
I see.
research actually and reflection, they're really hand in hand. Because it starts with saying an aha about a problem in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really problem oriented, not problem, but a puzzle oriented thing.
I
Yeah, it's a
see.
kinder word.
Mm-hmm.
And then you collect data from your students and some of your colleagues, if you like, and then you think about that data, and then you plan for action. Just like reflective
Yes.
practice itself. I mean, they're really close. I will highly suggest that, but again, it doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes time.
It
These
takes
things
time.
take it takes time, but it doesn't mean that, it's not to say that it's a big, huge thing which requires really scientific background. No, action research actually is located in most of the articles now. You can read
Mm-hmm.
many theses from action research, many books,
Yeah.
which means the classroom life is really important. Also as a start, maybe the mindset about exploratory practice can be also promoted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about finding a puzzle, but it's about improving the quality of life in the classroom in
I
any
see.
way. It can be a teacher-related issue, it can be a student-related part,
Mm-hmm.
it can be about technology, it can be about even the timing of the class. Because when
I
I
see.
talk to my students, in the last module, I put my lessons at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and they said, "Hojam, it's really early for us." And I put it at 11. Now they're happy, So I improved something in the classroom. That feeling
Yes.
can also be promoted, and then action research would come. And I believe when teachers get the awareness and
Mm-hmm.
self-confidence about this reflection and action research, they start writing about it. They produce really good scientific papers. I read
I
around,
see.
and yeah, I see great information there. And action research is really the language of it is really user friendly.
I see. Thank you, Burak Hocam. Thank you for this information about action research. There is a
Thank you.
question, Burak Hocam. Someone asked you here, Azra. Thank you, Azra, for the question. Is reflective teaching a systematic process or an unplanned and unpredictable process without a lesson plan?
Oh, it's an interesting question. I think it has a rigor in itself. It's a system. Thank you for the question, by the way. I think it's really systematic. There's a system in it. That's for sure. But it doesn't mean that you have to plan all your lessons on paper. No, it's not to say that. I think it's planned as a state of mind. You're always locked and loaded when you go to the classroom. You have a reflective plan in your mind, but it's not rigorous plan. It's just a rigorous thinking process. So it's actually a kind of habit which develops over time, but in itself it's really systematic. But when you go to the classroom, anything can happen. It's really emergent, by the way. The idea is anything can happen in the classroom, and I'm ready to stay conscious about it. So that's the big thing. It's not. I think the question goes about maybe observation process, which requires a little bit of lesson planning, but not reflective thinking all the time.
I see. She says, "Thank you, many great answer."
I thank you for provoking thought here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Burak Hocam, my next question is about student progress. How do you monitor students' progress throughout the lesson?
Yeah. Normally in the classroom, I go next to them, and any way that I can talk to them. If they're boys, I touch their shoulders. Hey, how's it going? I ask them. If they're girls, I get not really close, but I say, okay, how is it going? How can I help you? Different tone. If a student is really not open, not a morning person, I just go twice, 3 times, and I keep a close eye on how things are going. So actually, I try to act according to people's personalities in the face-to-face classroom. And how do I keep progress? I talk to them a lot. I think teaching is a really dialogic profession. We should have a dialogue, or else it's just an educational TV that I always call it, especially these days. Yeah, you talk to the screen, but not to the heart, not to the people. So it's really hard to monitor progress. So when it comes to today is really hard. But I have found my ways. The first technique I use, I think most of the teachers do it. I talk to students in 5-minute coffee talks after each lesson. I say, today it's your day. Let's talk to you. And next day, I'm going to talk to student B. The other day, I'm going to talk to student C. And I talk to them and I ask them about their lives, because I don't believe everybody has a great house, great life in the house. Yeah, And also for our particular students, they had the excitement and joy of joining a university life. But all of them are topsy-turvy now. They are not in the campus. So they may feel heartbroken. They may not have a room that they can study silently. So anything can go. So how do I keep progress there, monitor progress? I talk to them, and the first thing I ask, are you happy? And are you healthy?
Yes.
2 of my students are now, has had the experience of coronavirus. One of them is still suffering. And while this is the situation, can I ask questions to the students? Can I throw homework? It's not easy.
It's difficult.
It's not the case. And I talked to them in 5 minutes, and Volkan Hocam, you can't believe how many interesting truths I found in these talks.
I'm sure.
Really interesting, really interesting things. The health issues, how much they like the classroom, how many other things they want for the next class. So I always talk to them. So this is one thing. Other thing, I have check-in points in the lessons, which is quick quizzes. Quick questions, quick quizzes, a kind of exit task If you don't answer
Yeah.
to that question, you don't go
You
anywhere. But you can open your book, you can check Google, you can do anything, but just answer
yeah.
that question. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Also, yeah, you see the progress there. And also, I try my best to let students talk to each other, not to me all the time. And then they learn from each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard these
Exactly.
days. And also in our school system, sometimes we don't have breakout room system on the
Uh-huh.
portal, but we use Teams and Zoom to alleviate that issue. And yeah, so I try to stay as dialogic as possible,
Mm-hmm.
to talk to them, and I think the first
I
thing
see.
today is to talk to people, then content comes.
I see.
Yeah.
Talk to them, then content comes, as you said. Well, thank you. Thank you, Burak Hocam. And my
Thank
next
you.
question is about students again. And how do you adjust to address students' need?
Yeah, there are different learners, right? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
visual learner, for example. I'm a big time visual learner. Sometimes I plan my lessons with stickman, you know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, three students in one group, so I draw three stickmen. And yeah, for I give them choice,
Mm-hmm.
because when you think about 4Cs, 21st century skills, that's
Yes.
creativity, collaboration, communication, and also critical thinking, and they start to add something different to it. It's care and choice.
Mm-hmm.
Choice is really important. Let me give you an example. Um, let's say the subject matter should be if conditionals, which I will be talking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
When we talk about if conditionals, the comparisons, and always ask them about their life, then they create some sentences from their lives and everything. And in the end, when the production comes, I give them choice. First of all, if you like, you can write some sentences about it.
Uh-huh.
If you like, you can speak. You can talk about yourself using one if clause in your sentences. Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't like them, you can do controlled activity, which is in your workbook, if you like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any way that you like it. And if you want to develop, if you want to teach about that, so be my guest tomorrow. I also, because some students really like talking and speaking, and they become teachers. They do it
Yeah.
great. Sometimes they switch to Turkish, which is fine, I think. They
So,
code switch and then they talk about the grammar point. I mean, I try to cater for differences that way. But I think I need to improve that skill because it's a skill that you can always improve because
mm-hmm.
any student will be different in
I
there are no
see.
categories, no stereotypes. So sky is the limit. It's always exciting.
Exactly. I like that sentence. Sky is the limit. It's really
Right.
great sentence. There's a question, Burak Hocam. If you see, uh,
Trying
Burak
my best.
Hocam, can you see it? Do you think,
Yes,
do you want me to read it or can you read
I'm
it?
check. I'm checking it. Yeah.
I can also read it. Maybe the others for the others.
Okay.
Do you think camps off in online teaching kill all the logic? If we are gonna keep teaching online, do you think blind way will still help somehow? How so? How can we improve the efficiency? Sorry, yeah. What's the I can't
Yeah,
read.
efficacy.
Efficacy.
Yeah,
Efficacy.
I
Yes,
see.
sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. The biggest one of the biggest issues today in this teaching situation is we are missing oral and visual cues. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have people next to us. We are not shoulder to shoulder anymore. So if I don't see you, Volkan, it's really hard for me to communicate. But if when I see you, I'm directly
Yeah.
talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really easy for me. So I think this question is really meaningful at this point. Yeah, but in law, you can't force people to switch on their cameras. This is another issue.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are not, as I told, they don't have really nice rooms or really good background, and it might be hard for them. But
I
I
see.
believe, yes, it kills some of the spirit, to
Mm-hmm.
me, kills some of the spirit. But I'm trying to get used to the idea of talking to initials, talking to names. Hearing them is also good. If they speak, it's still something,
Mm-hmm.
even if we don't see them. But yeah, I don't have a solution. I think no one has a solution for that. I think it can be a rule, but it can't, apparently. In law, it's impossible.
I
So
see.
I think students will keep doing that, switching off their cameras, and we will be able to do nothing about it,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
probably. You're right. Thank you, Burak Hocam. There is another question. It is here. Is it possible? Uh, yeah. Is it possible to explain about best method in an online assessment? Usually, we should change our assessment plans according to their needs.
Mhm. That's right. I think this is the key. This is one of the good ideas that to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Online assessment is nothing like any other type of assessment, really, because you have to, you actually rely on self-report, which means what students tell you, because you don't have much of a time in which you can monitor a lot of groups at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So it's really impossible now. Even if we have breakout rooms, you can be in one room while you are missing the other seven rooms. And you jump to the sixth room, the other seven goes, you know? So it's really hard. So I think the first lesson can be dedicated to the open speech. Hey, look, first of all, it's impossible for me to reach out everyone. So your assessment, your progress, you will keep a close eye on it and you will
I
report
see.
me, yeah, at times. So you will have some check-in points. I'm going to talk to you, just 5-minute talk. What's going good? What's going bad? Just really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get flexible at that point. Just today, I realized we have a system, we have an online workbook, and students get 20% of the whole points about this book. And I thought all of the students are on the system because you enter the book code and everything. Yeah.
I see.
But just today, I found that two of my students have no clue about the online workbook. I just found today, and we have 4 days left. Just 4 days for them to complete all the exercises, and they have 9 units. And
Ooh.
I told myself, Burak, okay, look, I made believe myself that these students on the list, because I see who is registered and who is not. These students want to be in that system, while other students do not want. But I was wrong. Yeah, the idea was that some of the students haven't heard about that. Even if we have WhatsApp group, I keep posting everything. Yeah, but it slips. It goes somewhere.
I see.
So maybe we should be constantly talking to students. I know it's hard and teachers' workload is incredibly high. They
Yeah,
work,
definitely.
yeah, so they work a lot, a lot. And taking time to have 5-minute checkpoints, maybe it would be asking too much, but it's still valuable for talking about teaching and also socializing. Because
Yeah,
any student is an individual that you can socialize. This is also another part. And they
I
also want to
see.
socialize with you. So maybe taking this socializing opportunity into a teaching opportunity would be great.
I see. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam. There is another question. It's here. I'm an English teacher in Ankara and I'm from Black Sea. And she said, I have
Me
two
too.
questions. Yeah. Has he ever kicked any student from his class? And how can he behave when he sees a problematic student?
It's a great question. It takes me back to 2012. Yes, I did. I did. I actually kicked the whole class. I actually kicked the whole class out one time.
Wow.
But it was,
Yeah.
yeah, well, it was my mistake.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my mistake. As I told in the beginning, I will tell you the anecdote. First, the teachers think about their own mental lives, and then you become an experienced teacher, and then you think about people, you talk to people. But yeah, it was my first year, and I was always with my agenda, these things to be done. This was the mentality. I remember that lesson. I don't remember exactly. I was teaching grammar. and it was really intense lesson. I was keeping, students always busy. And one of the students showed up late. It was his habit. But I never took time to talk to him about it. Maybe it was to become stylish in the classroom, to stay cool. Or maybe he has some problems, or maybe he works. I didn't talk to him. I just said, get out. He didn't get out. This is the worst thing a teacher can ever have in his or her life, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't go out, and I was trembling and I was blushed, of course. I said, okay, don't. Then it shows your character. Wow, a terrible sentence from my mouth. I said, oh, what did I say? And after that, I talked to that student, and the student thought that I was always picking on him on purpose. I was asking questions to him directly because I thought he didn't know. I was playing with his emotions, and I was really heartbroken at that point. I said, why didn't I talk to that student in the first place? Now I don't do that stuff. I never kick anyone out. I don't. And because I think about my own years when I was 18 years old.
Uh-huh.
I was doing a lot of things in the classroom. I was talking, doing a lot of things, and yeah. One great anecdote I always remember from my experience, from my uh, graduate years, undergraduate years. I was in the class. It was a second grade, I guess, third grade. I was a third grade at university. It was
Mm-hmm.
a lesson about poetry. It's a poetry lesson.
Yeah.
And our teacher was really cool, and he was really respected teacher in the area. And he also had some administrative duties in the school, in the university.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really kind. I was talking to people around me. I was saying, hey, how's it going? Because the lesson to me was boring. It was not. But I was 20 years old, and poetry was not really addressing to me. And yeah, I was talking and stuff, and he approached me really closely with his great, elegant manner, and he put the book in front of me. He said, Sir, I've been hearing you for the last couple of minutes, and you have a great voice. And because you can address people really greatly, why don't you read that beautiful poem to the whole class?
Oh.
Of course, of course, I was cool. I would do that. Welcome, it was Old English. It was
Yeah.
so hard. It was so hard. I couldn't
Difficult.
read a single line without mistake. And after that, you know what happened? I finished, I could barely finish reading that poem. And he again came with the great manner, took the book. He said, okay, I believed in you, and you didn't prove me wrong. Thank you. And I was gone because it was a terrible performance. So thinking about my 20-year-old part, I think that things happen because the group that I'm teaching, they 18 and 20-year-olds
Yeah.
most of the time, they're at the stage of building their identity. Anything can happen at that part.
Mm-hmm.
They can have some, I don't know, they can have bad thoughts. They can have, it can be a great day for them. All of a sudden, it can turn out to be a terrible day for them. So they have ups and downs. So, all in all, I don't do that stuff anymore. I did just once. I also kicked the whole class out one time, and it was a terrible, terrible idea because not a single, not a single student did the homework, and I thought it was really personal.
I
They
see.
were planning against me, but it was, really childish for me.
But that's okay. No
Yeah,
problem. It's a nice anecdote. At that
yeah.
time, it's really great. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam, for sharing your great moments with us. And there was another question, Burak Hocam, because questions are coming, and I'm asking them to you because it's really nice to have questions from our audiences. And I will
Yes.
also ask my questions, but first I would like to ask these questions. From Dr. Tamar Dalitse, she asks, how do you find classroom management online?
Yeah, it's again, just like anything, I think it's hard. But I think it's about what we understand from classroom management. Classroom management is, to me, most of the time it goes to discipline and everything, but I don't, yeah, it's one part of it, but In the face-to-face class, even using the board is a part of classroom management. If you use the board in a wrong way with the terrible handwriting, the management goes somewhere. Yeah, but today I think classroom management should be, again, it comes from staying collective with students, staying together. And I don't have any issues with classroom management. If we think classroom achievement is making sure the classroom is a great atmosphere to learn, to maximize learning opportunity, I try my best to maximize the learning opportunity because classroom actually transcends its borders today. When you have a 40-minute lesson, it's not 40-minute lesson anymore because you keep talking on WhatsApp, you keep emailing students. I think classroom management now is a broad thing. You should manage emailing, you should manage what is it called, netiquette, yeah, how to talk, right? And a lot of dimensions today. And it's a big thing. It's a big, it's really, you have to put a lot of efforts as a teacher because you have your own life in your house, but at the same time you have WhatsApp to check, you have emails to check, but all of them are parts of classroom management. But yeah, I told you, today I found out two of my students have no clue about the online workbook. So that shows me my classroom management failed at some point because I broke the chain of staying dialogic with students. So we should always keep a close eye on their lives and we should always talk to students. This settles everything, assessment, classroom management. A lot of things are going on between people now.
I see. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam. There are two more questions from our audiences, but I will come them. But before that, I would like to ask one of my questions to you, Burak Hocam. So the question is this, and who was or is your most inspirational colleague and why?
Yeah, good question. I can't call one because I've been working with teachers closely for a while, and I learn a lot of things from each of them. I think people have different styles, different teaching techniques and everything. So I pick great points from their teaching, from their ideas. And, while we're discussing something, they give me a different outlook of things. And then I think together we mean something. Yeah. Yeah. So, but if I should go specific about it, the trainers that I worked in SID TESOL course, they have been really inspirational, not only in my training or teaching, but in my life. Yeah, because I was thinking the first the life, the piece of life that I remember about that, before I start taking this training course, I asked one of the trainers, should I be a teacher trainer? And he asked me, Hakan Çavlak, maybe he's here. He told me he'll be here. And he told me, Burak, look, if you want to be a more conscious person, a better father, a better husband, yes. Wow, I said, Volkan Hocam, I said, really? Is it that big? And wow, it was the big inspiration that I get. Another teacher trainer, Hande Çalık, and also she was my teacher trainer when I got my course, and she inspired me a lot. And I learned how to listen to people from her. She listens to people genuinely, that she is in the moment, and she gives you the ball all the time. She doesn't give feedback all of a sudden. She asks a lot of questions to you to direct you to the final point. So it was a great skill I learned. The other trainer I worked with was Zhenya Polosatova. She's from Ukraine. And we also had a forum talk with her. She kindly invited me to her forum. Yeah, blog, not forum. And yeah, I learned how to create quick materials because she was using pen and paper really greatly, just really quickly, writing some things, categorizing some language, doing a lot of things. I was watching with amazement. It was incredible. David Donaldson, another teacher trainer, he's American, but he lives in Barcelona. And the biggest thing I learned from him was he said, Burak, again, about listening. He said, speak 3 instead of 5 and listen to understand better. I was like, wow, such a metaphor. It's a great approach.
Yeah.
I learned another lesson about listening from him. And also Aslı Kır, well, we got the teacher training together with her. Now she's on maternity leave. She has a great son, just the same age with my son. And we worked for 2 courses with her. It was amazing because we helped each other day and night, all the time. We
I
worked
see.
like we planned lessons together, we delivered joint sessions and everything. So it
Mm-hmm.
was incredible. And a lot of colleagues that I can name here, I learned a lot from them. So,
I
but these
see.
are some of my, yeah, some teacher trainers that I learned a lot.
Yollarına. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam. Thank you. The great names.
Yeah,
Even that
yeah.
you
They are
cannot
somewhere
say
around.
their names. Yeah, but they're also great, I'm sure. Okay. And my next question is, can you share one of your accomplishment in your teaching that no one knows about? This is maybe kind of a private question, but if you don't want the answer, you don't.
Maybe accomplishment in teaching that no one knows about. I don't know. Everybody knows about what I do because generally I tell people what I
Mm-hmm.
do in my classroom or what I read about. For example, I talk to my wife a lot. I say, what I read yesterday, this, and this, and she says she reflects on it with me, and then I learn better when I talk to people. Yeah. But yeah, really, I don't have a magical thing that I maybe no one knows about because I always try to share it. But and I believe if you do something, it's to be shared, to be open-minded, about it, to share
Yeah,
for people to reflect on. So
I
I don't
see.
have a concise question for that, specific question, answer for that, sorry.
I
So
see.
yeah,
It's okay.
I'm not sure about it. Yeah, yeah.
All
But
right.
maybe sometimes I rap in the class. This is
Uh-huh.
something that not many people know about. I like this rhythm, and then students, I sometimes make it as a listening
Yeah,
activity. Yeah, I like
great.
that type of music, so maybe that.
I see. Thank you, Burak Hocam.
Yeah,
And
interesting question.
let me come back to the question from our audiences. There is this now the students don't do their assignments in an online classes, just 2 or 3 do it. What shall
Mhm.
we do about it?
It's better than no one. I always tell myself when we start. It's a good question. Thank you for that question. Yeah, that's an issue. But again, staying close to people is different than talking from screen to screen
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have the feel of being in an interaction with someone. So even if you tell someone to do something, maybe it's just telling. Uh, it's not, when you tell something from screen, it can be perceived as just a warning, as a telling. But normally, if we were in face-to-face classroom, I would tell them something, but they would not take it as a kind of a big order from me.
Yeah,
Maybe that's that. And also, maybe talking to the students one-on-one would be a solution. Why don't you that? Why don't you do that? If you want to do something else, let's design it and devise it. We can
mm-hmm.
find a different solution for that. I think every student has a point that we can touch. They have their likes and dislikes. Maybe we can find another way that we can give them homework or any other work. Because
I
some
see.
of them like speaking a lot, for example. They hate fill in the blanks. They hate writing something. They like speaking a lot. So maybe we can give them a more, I don't know, maybe more auditory practice.
Auditory practice
Yeah,
to do it. Okay,
yeah.
thank you very much, Burak Hocam. And you will see the question here. Here it comes.
Mhm.
Can you see it?
Um,
Should we live abroad to learn languages?
no, I don't think so. No, it's not a must. But being abroad is a good idea because learning a language has a lot of dimensions. It has, social dimension, cultural dimension. It's not something to be learned about. I always tell that
Mm-hmm.
it's a great distinction when you learn about a language or learn the language itself. Yeah. Maybe in the classroom you can learn about the language a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rules and grammar and lexis and everything. But when you go abroad, of course, you will learn the function of language more than its form. Yeah. But it's now, today, it's really easy to bring the world in your house. Yeah, it's really easy.
Definitely.
I watch
Easy.
a lot of interviews, for example. I like watching interviews. I don't know, but it helps me a lot because you learn discourse in interviews. Yeah. If somebody asks, another person answers, and a lot of things are going between two people there. I really like it. That might be something to suggest students or the question
Mm-hmm.
asker.
I see.
You don't have to go abroad, but listening to different accents would be a good starting point. Listening to interviews, watching interviews, and yeah, you don't
Maybe
have to. But
podcast.
if possible,
What? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
podcasts are incredible. I like it. At
Mm-hmm.
first, it starts. You have to be patient with podcasts because you don't have
Yeah.
the video of it, yeah. And sometimes it's a monologue. Most of the time, it's a monologue for the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. So some people get bored easily. It takes time, just like getting used to reading a book. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
But podcast, yeah, would be great. Would be great. And also finding a friend that you can always speak English with.
That's another good
Just
point
one friend.
about it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you.
might
Thank you,
be a
Burak
good
Hocam.
point. Yeah.
And my next question is, what is your favorite part of the school day and why?
It's Friday, and because on Friday we have classroom coffee talk. Not
Ah,
one-on-one. Yeah, this time we have classroom coffee talk, and every week we have a topic, and we
uh-huh.
have 45 minutes or 60 minutes to talk about something. We talked
Yeah.
about hobbies last week, no, the other week, and this week we are going to talk about success. How can we be successful? What is networking, and how can
Mm-hmm.
we network? How can we find jobs in Turkey or abroad? And we will talk about them. I like Fridays because it's the end of the formal teaching workload, and also we have the coffee time, coffee talk. And I also take care of my son after Friday. We have more time, and we are locked
I
down, by the way,
see.
locked in, but still we are together. And I see students are always happy on Fridays. They're always happy.
Just
Yeah,
like us. We are
just
all.
like us. Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much, Burak Hocam. And my next question is, how do you envision your teaching changing over the next 5 years?
It will keep changing. That's the magic, I think, of teaching because teachers learn because we
Mm-hmm.
teach learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Yeah, we teach learning. If you don't learn, then it's not keeping it real. It's not selling meat as a butcher, but you are vegetarian, right? It's Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be like that. So I think not only next 5 years, but whole my life, I will keep changing.
I
Maybe the
see.
changing would be focusing on the changing generation because the
Mm-hmm.
generation will always keep changing. So I will keep a close eye on them on that. Um, Also, the people around me, I got to know you, Volkan Hocam, for example, and I will get to know you, great
Yeah.
colleagues around, so I will learn. I think it will never stop because
Yes.
I have the growth mindset. I tell myself, I always try to keep that growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get tired. I'm not gonna lie about that. Sometimes there are a lot of things you will learn, a lot of things because you get shell shocked after a moment. You just check internet, a lot of webinars around, a lot of things are going, and a lot of conferences that you can present.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I stop. I said, take a deep breath. I said, let's digest what I learned and let's stop learning. But of course you can't. So in the next 5 years, yeah, next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15 years, I will always keep learning. But what will
I see.
change? I think I will become more conscious about people's thinking more than what they
Mhm.
know. I will think
Yeah,
about, I will check what they think, not what they know.
I see.
That's the big, one of the biggest parts of staying reflective.
Okay. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam. There is another question here. Uh, it says here, in today's world, it is really hard to keep students away from their mobile phones or computers. So, is it better to integrate social media tools into classes, and how?
I'm a type of person, thank you for that question, Hojam. I'm a type of person that thinks technology or social media shouldn't overshadow learning
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of tools, a lot of input from social media. We should stop at some point and we should pick our best tools that help us and we can keep our routines. I have a couple of tools that I like using in my classroom. I utilize them to its fullest
Mm-hmm.
and it really helps me. Yeah, but using mobile phones, it's really interesting. Normally, Generation Z, we thought they would be really great with technology and everything, but all of a sudden we saw that they are good with mobile phones, not with computers. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, sometimes they don't know how to use some of the tools. They ask us a lot of questions about some of the tools, and yeah, they don't stay away from their telephones. And but we're using our telephones now for the good, benefits, and maybe
Yeah,
we can.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't we do that with our students? That would be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That having quick WhatsApp call again, staying dialogic, and talking to them,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they can take social media for the good things. And
Yeah.
also, students can follow us, and we share really beneficial things. Teachers share great things. Also, you, Hojam, I appreciate what
Yeah.
you do. You share
Thank
a
you.
lot of good, yeah, you share a lot of good conferences, a lot of things, and students can get inspired by that. By that, they can say, "Wow, our teacher always learns something," and
I'm trying.
yeah, they're trying to do their best and everything. This is incredible. That so they can take us as an example. But of course, in some other pages, they will keep liking someone or
Yeah.
watching videos. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
okay. Yeah,
Definitely. Thank you,
right.
Burak Hocam. I think that was the nice answer for the question. And my question is, by the way, just a couple questions left. Two questions left for our sessions. It's really, the time flies. So, and here is the question. Which learning trend captures your attention the most and why? Like mobile, for example, mobile learning, project-based learning, content-based learning, or game-based learning, etc.
It's a good question. It keeps changing.
Thank you. Uh-huh.
Yeah, according to the content. But I'm in love with test teach test. I like it.
Ah, I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't believe students are tabula rasa. They come with their knowledge to the classroom. They don't know the English version of something, but they know it in their lives,
Uh-huh.
right? So I always test what they know and I
Yeah.
create context, try to create context about, I try to use their names in the sentences and in
Yeah.
the context, yeah? Because I try to know about them and I use them. For example, one of the student likes playing the guitar, and then the context of that grammar point or anything
Mm-hmm.
would be about playing the guitar. And I say,
I
okay,
see.
student A, why don't you tell us more about how to play a guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I start testing a mini quiz maybe, or some asking some questions, asking for maybe error correction, and then I
Mm-hmm.
teach necessary parts. I don't want to teach everything because I don't want to go on something for
Uh-huh.
another time. And in the end, I test again, and I like it. And also in our course, we advocate a system which is called ECRF, which is
Ikra. Uh-huh.
yeah, E, C, R, I, and F.
Mm-hmm.
We propose it for speaking lessons, and I like it. E
I see.
stands for encounter,
Mm-hmm.
C stands for clarify, and R is remember. It goes
Mm-hmm.
from knowing
see.
nothing, maybe knowing more. And then I stands for internalize, and F stands for fluency.
Uh-huh.
If you want to know more about it, we have um, there's a website, I think ecrif.com, ecrif.com. You can read about ecrif. It's a learning framework. It's not a teaching framework, just like present, practice, produce. No, it's a learning framework, and this learning framework works that way. While one
I see.
student is encountering a new
Uh-huh.
material, another student would be fluently using it,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
another
see.
student from the behind desk might be remembering it. So it actually caters for the differences in the classroom. So encounter is just like you say, aha, it's the first time you encounter a new material. For example, you
Yes.
teach reported speech, yeah? You teach reported
Mm-hmm.
speech. That student has no clue about that, and you talk about gossiping as a context in your classroom,
Yeah.
as a reported speech, and the students say, in gossiping, we actually report something. So this is
Report
encounter,
something. Mm-hmm.
right? This is encounter. And clarify is where you say, yeah, Hande, he's here. Hande says my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite.
Hande is one of my, yeah, I mentioned her name. She is one of the, yeah, co-trainers of mine. Thank you,
Wonderful.
a lot of respect, yeah. And C stands for clarification. When you start to figure out the puzzles. So you have in reported speech, we use past, and then
Mm-hmm.
we just talk about people. We don't say I, we say he, because we just talk about a previous experience. And
I
when
see.
it comes to remember, you have some controlled practice. You just like riding a bike with three wheels. Yeah. So it's a kind of
Exactly.
remember.
Yeah.
You can barely do that. And then comes internalize. Internalize is things get personal. This time you start
Mm-hmm.
to report with some chunks in your hand. You
I
start
see.
reporting. And in the end, fluently use. We don't try to use any materials. We let students go. Teachers stand aside and just listen. And we create a context in which students talk about reported speech. We
I
give them
see.
a task and they report something. I love this. Sometimes in the lesson, I finish it internalized. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I see some of the students are still encountering. They are not in the
Yes.
classroom. So it's a yeah. If you are wondering more about that, please read it. It's ecrif.com. It's incredible. I like it.
Is it possible for you to write into the chat box, Burak Hocam,
Yes, but
to
maybe
see?
I can write. Yeah, but I'm trying my best. I do a lot of. Um, yeah, this is
No problem.
yeah
It's okay. Just like to remember.
yeah. It's ecrif. Maybe .com. Maybe .net. I'm not sure, Volkan Hocam. So
Okay.
maybe
Okay. I see.
yeah. It's a good
Okay.
simple
Thank you very
website,
much.
but it tells a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I'll definitely check it, Akrif. All
Please,
right.
please.
And I'll share
There you
it.
go.
Thank you very much. And two questions left, Burak Hocam.
I'm
And the
here.
next. Okay. What advice would you give to a new teacher who asks you, what is the best way for me to keep growing as a teacher?
Okay. Okay. I would ask that teacher, and I'm asking everyone now, please write to the chat box. Who are the best learners in the world? Let's wait for it. Let's see. Who are the best
Yeah.
learners in the world? Just tell me a type of person. Or thank you, Hakan Hocam, by the way, sharing ecrif.com. Yeah, thank you.
The best learners in the world.
Yeah, the best learners in the world. Who are these athletes? Are these, I don't know, adults? Who?
Teachers.
Maybe teachers. What type of teachers then? What kind of characters? So let's wait. Maybe we can get some
Yeah.
answers. Who are the best learners in the world? Yeah, maybe just, I don't know.
Scientists, for example.
Scientists, yeah, they always keep learning, for sure. Eager to learn, yes. Who thinks more? Yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Children.
Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, babies. I would
Yeah,
say
babies.
babies.
Babies,
Exactly,
yeah.
babies.
The
Yes,
answer is there are babies. Yeah.
yes, babies. Why? Because they do two things. The first thing, they are curious about everything. Everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, everything, even the hot stove, even the edge of the
definitely.
balcony, right? Everywhere. And the second thing is they keep trying.
Exactly.
Anyway, they can do. They fall, they try to climb again. They fall, they try to climb again. So I would say that, teacher, are you curious and are you ready to keep trying? These two things. And that will bring maybe the open-mindedness that's necessary for the next stage of staying reflective, experimenting things. So yeah, staying curious and experimenting things, I would say.
I
Two
see.
things. I'm
Okay.
watching Volkan Hocam, I watch my son every day, and I
I see.
see I see the great improvement there. So because he's always curious and he works a lot, really.
Definitely they are. Definitely.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Burak Hocam. And the last question. Yes, tonight's
Okay.
last question is, it's very difficult to answer. Yeah, we will see. And here it go. What is your
Okay.
motto, Burak Hocam?
My motto, yeah, you know, every teacher has a principle. A lot of principles come and go. We have our cognitions. I always believe that. I always say two things. The first thing is teach people more than you teach content.
I
This is
see.
my
Wow.
motto. Yeah, you know, because when you have a pre-agenda for a bunch of individuals, painting everyone with a single brush, coming into the classroom and saying, today, this is the agenda, and I'm going to do that. It's not me going to do that, it's them, right? And also, yeah, teach people more than you teach content, I say.
I see.
And the second thing I always say is, don't be a vegetarian butcher. Do what you say. And also, if you stop learning, then you're a vegetarian butcher. Yeah, you sell meat, but you don't eat it. And yeah, don't do that. I mean, to stay real, I think we have to be good models to students.
Exactly.
And right, so because whatever I tell doesn't guarantee it happens, but whatever I do is taken as a model, and I try to do my best that I keep, you know, staying a model to the students with my life, with the things I talk about, and yeah, we should. I think most of the teachers do their best.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, Burak Hocam.
Thank you.
That's all the questions for tonight. And before we finish our sessions, would you like to add something to this session or to our
First
words?
of
Yeah.
all, yeah, I would like to thank you for inviting me, having me, and also you're putting a lot of efforts. You're teaching, sharing, doing. I mean, you're just amazing, by the way. I respect what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you so much. You're a great
Thank you.
model. And also for everyone, you know, paying their 1 hour at this hour and coming here and asking great questions. Thank you so much
Yeah.
about that. I think these talks should continue. I always try to watch your talks, and also I watch the recordings. Yeah, and for today, I can say, just like Margot just said, sharing is caring. Keep
Caring.
sharing because, yeah, I'm talking to teachers. Two things happen, two things arise as a need. The first thing is they want the human contact, just like we are doing now. I mean, we have to talk, we are human. And the second thing is exchange of ideas, exchange of
Yeah.
practices. Keep informing each other. Sometimes talk about just life, you know, just close the book and
I
talk about
see.
life. There are because now today we can't travel, we cannot accumulate many experiences that we can use in the classroom. So
I
why not
see.
talk to people? Yeah. So
I
stay
see.
dialogic. Yeah.
Thank you. Great one. Thank you very much,
Thank
Burak
you so
Hocam.
much.
I would like to say one more time, thank you very much for accepting my invitation to Teacher Talks. And we had a really great session, just like other sessions. And we
My pleasure.
learned and you shared with us your ideas and your suggestions, your experiences. Thank you very much for them. And I would like to say thank you to our audiences. They come and they listened and they joined and they asked questions. And they're also great. And that's all for tonight. And Burak Aydın with us tonight. And next week we will have different educators like today and same time and the same day. And until that time, take care of yourselves and sharing is caring, as we said here. Take care of yourselves and peace, everybody. And see you next time. Bye bye. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.